Okay, we're going to pause here and turn the tape. Okay, we're beginning now side 2. And I want to mention on this tape that Mr. Herskovits...
How about just Mickey? Good enough.
Mickey, okay,
Yeah.
so I can pronounce that.
Yeah.
Mickey has been interviewed for the survivors of the Shoah, and so he has a videotape of the experience of the Holocaust. So maybe for this tape, if there's anything that you can think of maybe that you would want to mention further about the Holocaust, maybe something you didn't think of at the time or just some kind of statement, you can mention it here, and then we'll go on to the rest of the story.
Briefly, you don't live that down. 50 years that has gone by. 50 years I am, quote, liberated or freed, unquote. In these very days, I still have occasion, not as much as at the earlier days, I have dreams. About 3-4 weeks ago, I dreamt I'm being deported. Wasn't Auschwitz, but I was deported. They put me in a wagon and was sent down. I observe Yortzeit, which comes out usually on very late May or early June for my parents, my brother, which is 3 weeks apart. Even today, at that time of the year, I have bad dreams, and I'm moody because you don't live this down. To go into the thing of Shoah, you would have to start from step 1 and go through. It's like they say about eating, you get an appetite while you eat. When you go into it, then details and sidetracks come on and on and on. To put it here would take a whole day separately, regardless of this project what we are doing now. Okay. So thank you for the offer, but I'm declining under the circumstances that although it's for now, but it's not now for here.
Okay.
Well, that's at this point.
Okay, okay, that's good. Okay, now why don't we talk after the liberation? Then where did you go next, and what happened?
After liberation, as I mentioned before, we were a few days still in Ebensee to catch enough strength to be able to walk around. Then little by little, the people went home. We came home. I mention we because a friend of mine lives in Miami. I'm sorry, near Fort Lauderdale. We met in first grade school way back when. We worked together. We're still the best friends. My kids call them uncle, etc. In fact, a few days I'm going down there to see him. Spend about 4 or 5 times they go down there. So we came home. They gave us a couple of wagons, train cars, but we were still weak and we couldn't get into, so we sat on the stop of the car. That's how we went home. We went back to our hometown.
What did you find in the hometown?
Before, why did I go home? Most of them didn't go home, stayed in a camp and then go Canada, US, Australia, wherever. After the liberation, about a week, 10 days, I met some girls who were classmates of my sister. I knew my brother is not here. And funnily, they tell me that they saw Clary, which is a nickname of her, comparatively well after the liberation. Now, this gave me encouragement, so I'm back to our so-called hometown, quote unquote. And that she's gonna show up, so at least I know I have her. I went back to the hometown. I didn't find anything. That's not true. I found about 6-7 pictures of our family, where we lived in a beautiful 2-family house, 2 families side by side, not on top of each other like here. It was empty. Another family lived there. The Jewish people, they were very nice, so to speak. They would offer me a room in the back of the house.
They were Jewish people?
Jewish people, high-ranking communist officials. Don't forget, but this is a communist regime. High-ranking communist officials, they offered me from the deep of their heart, a back room in my place where I lived. Immediately, I didn't have where to stay. I stayed a couple of days. And I said to him, excuse the expression, the hell with you all, and I moved in with another friend. My main purpose was to wait for my sister to show up. I was working odd jobs, and running here, and just enough to have to just to have enough food to eat. The friends I was living with, They came home before me, and they had their own apartment they had back, and they just gave me a place to sleep. That's all I needed. Things went by a half a year, my sister didn't show. But this brings us on to August 47. I would have to go to Romanian military to be a soldier. I said, no, thank you. I just had enough. I'm not going to soldiering for anybody. So I ran away from there. I crossed the country. I speak Romanian and Hungarian, plus another few languages. So I went over to Hungary. This was in August 47, and started to work my way toward, excuse me, toward the American section of Austria. Austria was cut off already by that time, half Russian, half American. To cut off my American section, then you start to come up here. I had an uncle of mine here, may he rest in peace. Somehow he found me through the letter, and he wrote to me, he wants me here. Of course, I wanted to come here too. After 2 years, I thought I waited enough for my sister. He didn't see any sign of life. Little by little, I left. And I made my way back first to Budapest, Debrecen, then Budapest, then Vienna. And from Vienna, I stayed about 3 months.
You were working all the way along?
Yeah, working. I was like smuggling myself, black crossing. Then after Vienna, which I was 3 months, we could have Jewish high holidays in September. In October or November, I went over to Linz, which was the American sector. And after the Linz had 3 DP camps, I settled in Abelsberg was one of them. And I stayed there. I was there for a year, 3/4. Over there, I got a job working in the kitchen. Plus, I played soccer for the camp team, for which we got a care package every month, which some of it we ate, but most of it we sold on a black market, excuse the expression, and kept us up.
How did you know? How did you get the contact with your uncle here?
I still don't know. It seems a very strange. My uncle, we come back to this later. He died 6 weeks before I got here. I never got to talk with him. He had a wife, a wonderful woman, but she was a housewife. He had a son, so he's still around, he's a genius. He told me some story he thinks, but he didn't know. Uncle Bernie, may he rest in peace, put up a sign in a synagogue, which more other people did, looking for family, this and that and that. Somewhere along the line, he got an answer, yeah, I know your nephew was, and gave him an address, and I think the first letter didn't come to me, went to the Jewish community, but there weren't so many of us. So through them they found me. I believe this. And later on, when I wrote to him when I left, this has happened shortly before I left. I think it's probably the spring of 47 when finally found me. In late 47, I wrote to him that don't write to me here anymore. I'm getting out of here, and I will contact you whenever so I wrote to him from Austria, from Abelsberg. In Abelsberg, then we got a regular correspondence. In fact, he sent me a suit and shoes. That time, the first time I saw the American style shoes with the very pointy nails, we were laughing at it. And then I was working in a kitchen and playing soccer, and we had a more, quote, normal, unquote, life. This happened while I got to in Abelsberg, they started to list names, who wants to go where. People wanted to go to Israel to fight or to prepare for fighting. Some people who had relatives in Canada, Australia, France, etc. I wrote in USA because that's where I had the remaining relatives that I knew I had in USA. I wanted to come to USA. Then they called us in throughout the next couple of months, all in 49 summer, to various departments of the Immigration Service, health, background check background whenever you're honest, you have the criminal records, etc. It's less than about 4 or 5 months. Every 2-3 weeks they called you. Place was in Aston, which is a short ride from Abelsberg. somewhere in July, I